Shalom. Hello, international members. Thank you for tuning in. We're doing halftime series sermon, Catch the Little Fox. This is the third episode. Sermon title is The Temptation of Sex. The passage is from Job chapter 31, verse 1 through 12. Let me read it for you. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a girl. For what is man's lot from God above, his heritage from the Almighty on high? Is it not ruin for the wicked, disaster for those who do wrong? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? If I have walked in falsehood, or my foot has hurried after deceit, let God weigh me in honest scales, and he'll know that I'm blameless. If my step have turned from the path, if my heart had been led by my eyes, or if my hand had been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and may my crops be uprooted. If my heart had been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind another man's grain, and may other men sleep with her. For that would have been shameful, a sin to be judged. It is a fire that burns to destruction. It'll have uprooted my harvest. This is a sermon for male Christian, and for husband and wives. And brothers, try to read every man's battle. And sisters, try to read every woman's battle. Actually, this book is out of stock, so you have to find in used book section instead. We see there are many stories about the temptation of sex in the Bible, because the temptation of sex itself is the most fundamental desire of a human being, and it is part of our lives. In the history, in ancient time, there were female priests, and people used to have a sexual relationship with them because they thought they get blessing through that, and also they thought it gives the rain. And let's take a look at this typical example of temptation of sex. It's King David. You know, King David, he was a great king, but he also exposed in this sexual temptation. And one day, he was staying in the Jerusalem. He didn't go to the battlefield, and he woke up late in the evening, and he was walking on the roof of the palace, and he found out there's a woman taking bath, and he thought it's beautiful. No, it's very similar. In the Genesis, Eve, she took the fruit of good and evil, and she thought it's good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom. But David didn't stop. He investigated who that woman is. And later, a messenger, they found out that's Bathsheba, and she was Uriah's wife, General Uriah's wife. And messenger thought, why? So wonder. And also God wonders, why? Why her? And David, he slept with her, and then now everything is so complicated. So he decided to make perfect crime. He decided to kill General Uriah. General Uriah was royal and devoted to David. And now he wrote a letter to Joab and told him to put Uriah in the first line so he could stroke down and die with enemy's hand, the Gentiles. And there was a pastor named Bill Hybels. He was a great pastor. He founded the Willow Creek Church in Chicago in the United States. And he gave us lots of good influence to our Korean church. And remember, there's like famous book, I Pray Because I'm Too Busy, and Life Management. But there's a book called Who You Are When No One's Looking. It means like, who are you when no one sees you? I bless all of you to become mature Christian in front of God. But Joseph, he was different. He had about almost same situation, but he ran away. The crime scene. He thought that's against God, and he was fearing God, and he avoided that moment. Remember the 10 Commandments God gave us through Moses? The last commandment, 10th commandment, is do not covet your neighbor's house. Sexual temptation is not love, it's greed. And there's some way to overcome this sexual temptation. It's avoid it, like Joseph did, okay? And there's 3 ways. Let's remember this. First, I victory. We have to win. And we have to train for 6 weeks. And when we have a chance to meet those kind of situation, then we have to turn away immediately, like Joseph did, right away, avoid it. Second, and triumph through of thought, and trap the wild holes of thought. We need to control our ideas, our minds, our thought, never crossing the line. So we need to keep our sexual thinking, wild horses, in defense. And lastly, third one, very important, we have to love our wife with full love. Husband who snows around and eyes and thoughts, it's not a good husband. So all Christian, we wish to those who love their wives only. Michelangelo, he made the sculpture, David's sculpture. It looks perfect, right? And people praised him. And he said, I did nothing, because the solid stone already there, and he took up all the unnecessary parts. It same goes for our marriage. Like Michelangelo did, we remove all the unnecessary parts, like wrong habits, lost feeling, and cover the beauty of God. It's that intent, covering our whole marriage. So I bless all of you to be precious in family and loving your wife with beauty. And may you keep your eyes and thought and loving and enjoying your wife only. And there are 3 prayer topics. Let us realize the danger of sexual temptation that results in fatal death. And let us abandon the greed of sexual temptation in the mask of love. And lastly, help us to keep our eyes and mind and heart and love your wife only. God bless you.